Hello, imaginary friends, and welcome to the Imaginaries Literary Podcast.
So for my most faithful that I love, I'm sure there are others that are more faithfully adapted than this, but this is my favorite that I would consider to be very faithfully done, and that is The Fellowship of the Ring.
This is the One Ring, forged by the Dark Lord Sauron.
Specifically The Fellowship of the Ring as opposed to the Two Towers and Return of the King, where I felt like Peter Jackson strayed a little bit more from the original source material.
Very fair, very fair.
I knew the book inside and out. I'd read it over and over again, one of my favorite books. And yet throughout the entire film, when I watched it, I was on the edge of my seat. There was a point where the Nazgul are chasing Arwen and Frodo on the horse. And in the back of my mind going, but I know exactly what's going to happen here.
If you want him, come and claim him.
And it didn't matter. It didn't matter that I knew that. I was still on the edge of my seat. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that same experience with Two Towers and Return of the King, even though I like them as films. Fellowship of the Ring did something really special. Yeah. And I thought was a very faithful adaptation, despite not having Tom Bombadil, despite...
Yeah. And how do you put him on screen?
Bet you anything he would have added the Bombadil stuff later. Because, you know, with The Hobbit being 100 movies, with a tiny little book.
Yeah, I know. It's
if he went back and started over, he would totally put Bombadil in.
Yeah. And I think it would be a mistake, though. I don't think that they would be able to, I think like The Hobbit, I think
enjoyable as those parts are, I agree.
I love Tom Bombadil, but it's just he's too difficult of a character to put into a movie.
I'm not sure how you would do it.
Lots of song and dance.
But yeah, I thought they did a very good job of capturing the essence and the spirit of the film.
How do you think casting and acting and dialogue was? It didn't fail. Everything was really good.
I didn't have any major problems with the casting. There wasn't anyone that I was like, oh, they're totally not that person. But at the same time, because it was a book that I had read over and over again since a child, I had my own picture in my head of all these characters, and they were different.
And for some reason in my head, Galadriel was a cat, and I just couldn't.
I shall become a queen.
You know, there wasn't any obvious problem, but like I'd never pictured Elijah Wood as Frodo. I had my own picture of who Frodo was. It wasn't like wildly different, but it wasn't exactly what I pictured Frodo to be.
Go home.
And I thought they did all the worlds amazingly, from Hobbiton to Rivendell. Everything was just spot on. Spot on. And the fact that they brought in well-known Tolkien illustrators to help create, you know, they did so much intentionality to honor the source material and honor what Tolkien fans expected to see, and not just, well, we're going to do our own thing. Anytime I watch a director commentary where they're like, we kind of took everything that was that and we threw it out the window, I'm like, well, I'm not going to watch that.
Yeah.
You just told me everything I need to know.
Yeah. Well, there's the famous quote from Peter Jackson where he said, we're not making this movie for us. Our political ideology, whatever, none of that is going to go into this film. We're making this film for Tolkien. This is his story, and we're going to take his story and put it on the screen. And I think that that's why it worked out so well. And I think that's where their biggest failing was in the TV show that shall nameless. I will not.
You can't
I will
even
not
name
utter.
the
I can't even utter them
where you
because
don't
I'm so
name it.
mad.
Yeah.
I'm so mad about them. But yeah, it shall remain nameless. When you take somebody's story and you're going to retell it in a different medium, I think that if you have your eyes set on that story and rather than what you want to tell, I think then it's going to go decently well.
Particularly if you're working with the source material from a master like Tolkien. It takes a rare level of arrogance to think that you can do it better.
Right.
And I think Peter Jackson and his team did an amazing job.
We won't talk about The Hobbit. Okay, so my is also one that I was really disappointed in the book. It is Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice.
I'm flesh and blood, but not human.
I saw that movie, and again, that was another one that really inspired me to start doing movies. It was beautifully shot. It told a really interesting, cool story that I was just like, was not expecting it at all when I sat down to watch it. Again, it was a movie that I watched when I was really young, so I was just like completely blown away. And then I revisited it as an adult, and I was like, wow, this is still good. And they had some really cool film techniques to do some things here and there, and there wasn't a lot of CG or anything. It's very straightforward.
I agree. Not that I've seen it.
No, it's great. It's very, very good book for mature audiences. I read the book as an adult because for whatever reason, when I was young, I just thought it was too much of an undertaking. I was like, I saw the movie, I don't need to read it. And as I got older and understanding more story and the complete different mediums of a book and a movie, I was like, I'm going to read that because it was such a movie that really impacted me. I read it and I did not enjoy it. It was very, very long and very boring to me, which is unfortunate because I think a lot of it has to do with the high hopes. I think that with that and The Revenant, I had high hopes that the book would have the same feeling, have the same whatever that I had with the movie, watching the movie, like the same experiences. And they just weren't. They just did not hit the same. And maybe it was time of year, or maybe they just weren't good. But and Anne Rice is a fantastic author. Like, she's very, very good, and she's written a lot of really good books. But this was not, in my opinion. It just did not hit me like the movie hit me. I think the reason why I liked it is that the story was easier to follow, and to see Louis change throughout the whole journey, it was easier and much funner. It was more fun to follow in the movie. more funner to follow in the movie than it was in the book. In the book, it just seemed like at one point the vampire Lestat is like, oh, Louis always whining.
Louis, open to him. Still whining, Louis.
And in the movie, I didn't feel like he was a whiner. I felt like it was because they butted heads. They had different ideologies. But in the book, he was such a whiner. So, so maybe that's what it was. All right, Daniel.
So there's a guy called Rafael Sabatini, who back in the 20s and 30s,
Captain Blood.
Yes, exactly.
Captain Blood
was writing a bunch of adventure novels, and Captain Blood, yes, was one of them. And he also wrote several others that got made into movies that were very successful. So I just figured no one else is going to bring this up. So
I can't believe I didn't think of Captain Blood when I was thinking about favorite book adaptations. Well done, Daniel. My hats off to you.
What did you like about the movie and the book?
So much character. You look at movies from that era, and usually the comedies are filled with character, and adventures have character in them, but they're usually more
action-based.
Yes, which, Captain Blood has action in it, but Captain Blood just does a really good job of being funny and, all the things you expect from an action movie, but also fun.
Peter Blood, I'll make you pay for this. We must spend the rest of our life doing it.
And then the whale came, and the whale swallowed Jonah. I hope.
Wasn't exactly like a buddy cop movie, but in the sense that a buddy cop movie is always like comedic and adventurous and actiony. I'm getting quieter, aren't I?
No.
I'm running out of breath because I'm just trying to make a point and I'm not making the point. So I'm mentally telling myself to not use more breath, just get it done. And I'm not getting it done.
Wrap it up, Daniel.
Just watch Captain Blood.
And read it.
Yes, but actually, yeah, in that case, the book was actually good and fun and didn't really get old. So,
and it's quite a faithful adaptation as well.
Yeah,
and there's obviously large portions of the book that don't make it into the film because it's a long adventure book. But I feel like the parts that are included are quite faithfully adapted, and certainly the spirit of the book is definitely there in the movie.
Did you read the book before you watched the movie, or vice versa?
I didn't even know there was a book.
I will side with him, men.
And then somewhere I was reading about the movie, realized, oh, wait, this is an author. And then I bought the book, and then I bought some other books of his, and they're mostly entertaining reads. Not all of them are. But you could tell, and it was very clear, like he was consistently making books, imagining them as movies. And I think when an author does that, of course it's going to play well as a movie, unless they're just a terrible author, in which case it doesn't play well in any way. So
yeah. Sometimes it doesn't matter if you're a good author or not. Sometimes they just make a really bad movie.
Also true.
Hi. If you want to watch something, watch this, or maybe it's over here. I don't know where it's going to be, but it's going to be somewhere.